Hello, welcome. Today we're talking about a book review. It's The Winter Road. It's a true crime story by Kate Holden. The show today comes to you thanks to the Structure Success video training, and this will help you come up with a rough outline for your life story project. So stay with me to the end to find out more about this training. If you're brand new to the show, a big g'day. Forever Young Autobiographies is where we learn how to create life stories for family and friends so that unique memories can live on. And it'd be wonderful if you could follow, subscribe and like the show. So today's book review is The Winter Road. The full title is A Story of Legacy, Land and a Killing at Cropper Creek. It's written by Kate Holden, who is an acclaimed memoirist, and it's a really gripping Australian read. It basically, in a nutshell, tells the story of how in 2014 a farmer shoots and kills a government officer. The book's been put out by Black Ink, and it's recently won the 2021 Walkley Award for Best Book. So a fantastic accolade there for this work. So in today's show, I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap of what the book is about, what I think was interesting about this book, and things we can take away as life story creators. So please stay with me. So let's jump into firstly what The Winter Road is about. The book's 336 pages. It's a decent read, and it starts out with farmer Ian Turnbull. He's purchasing 2 blocks of land out at Cropper Creek near Moree, and he starts to clear 2 of these blocks. This is when New South Wales government officer Glenn Turner turns up to do some inspections about possible illegal clearing on those blocks, and this eventuates then into prosecution of this activity. It's a cycle. It goes on for a couple of years, comes to a head with the shooting of Glenn by Turnbull. And Glenn's actually unarmed when this happened, and it was a huge story here in Australia when it happened. Turnbull in turn faced court and he was convicted of murder. So that is in a nutshell of what this book is about, but there's so much more going on. So let me talk about the interesting things that came out of this read for me. Now there's this story of Turnbull and Glenn, but there's also, it sets the scene for some wider ideas here that are really interesting. Mainly the things that I think was interesting was the philosophical views that Holden works through the book. Mainly to do with what is the land's purpose and who actually owns it. You know, do we inherit this bountiful earth, all of us, equally? Or is it, to do with individual ownership? There's some really pertinent ideas and philosophies that she brings up on this across the centuries, across the continents. I found that really, really interesting, and I learnt a lot. Another thing that was interesting from this book was the legal and community arguments that came out of those philosophical ideas, but also to do with the court cases. You've got a depressed old farmer pushed too far on the one side, and then on the other side, you've got this argument of a state officer just doing his job, getting killed for it to protect endangered plants and animals without a voice. So you can see both sides of that is really, really clear in the book. Another interesting thing was, introducing the idea of how these laws, these land use laws have evolved over time. You've got the government here on one hand encouraging, back in the day, time past, for farmers to ring bark trees, and then the government coming full circle now to protection. And I think that is a really incredibly powerful backstory to all of these topics, all of these stories. So what can we learn from The Winter Road as life story creators? Now there's a few key things I think we should keep in mind when we're reading this. Holden does a fantastic job of weaving in this historical research, these different mindsets that we probably don't even realise that we've got, but they're formed over decades. And that really adds to the story, getting that in, weaving it in amongst your own stories, your own memories, gives him that backstory. Also, I think she does a great job of maintaining the balance of telling a factual story that's both-sided. And that's great for our readers if we do that, because we're not preaching to them, we're not appearing to take sides, and that means they're going to hopefully stay with us from the beginning all the way to the end of our life story work. A third thing that Holden does a really great job of is characters, and not just the idea of a person being an individual character. She sort of really expands this. You've got historical stereotypes. Ones that she often references in the book is the settler. And this is a character that's known throughout time. It's not an individual, it's more a group or more a stereotype. The other one that she does, a character that's not an individual, is a large group or a large idea, and that is the wilderness. I think that really comes through. So that's just a quick book review of, The Winter Road. It's behind the headlines of murder, land use and green laws. To recap, I quickly talked about what the book is about, interesting points and things we can take away as life story creators. And I hope that you will see by reading this book or by listening to this show that you can use a story, in this case a tragedy, it's split open, but then that sparks opportunity, it unleashes deep conversation and change. And this tragedy did do that. It did do that, and I'm sure Holden's book is doing that as well. So if you'd like to know more about this, head over to my website. I've got a full article on The Winter Road. You can see the cover of the book, picture of Holden, there's some quotes from the book, plus more details where you can purchase it. Go to foreveryoungautographies.com/The Winter Road. I will leave the link for that for you down in the description. But I'd also like to know, have you got a good life story read that you'd like to recommend to me or to others out there? Please leave a comment here, or you can send me an email at foreveryoungautographies.com/contact. I'd love to hear from you if you've got any questions to do with planning a life story project, creating, maybe polishing it, editing it, and then publishing it. Please drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. So at the start of the show, I mentioned the Structure Success video training. So if you'd like to get your hands on that one, you go to foreveryoungautographies.com/structure success sign up. I'll leave the links for that in the show notes as well. But this is really a simple training where I sit down with you, we go through some exercises, and we come up with some key memories, key ideas, key events to map out your outline for your project. Now this could be an autobiography, it could be a memoir, a biography, or something else, but this training is really going to help you distill the things that you want to convey to your audience. So I highly recommend that you give that a try. It's completely free, and I know it's going to help you. So I will be back again really soon with another topic. It would be wonderful if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, share it with a friend. And until then, everyone, happy writing.